Okay, big breaking news coming in, shifting our focus to the latest information that's been shared by Air Chief Marshal Amarpreet Singh. He says 4 to 5 F-16s were destroyed on ground. So he is making a direct reference to Operation Sindoor. Big message coming in from the Indian Air Force Chief. Anand Narsimhan joins us with more details. Yes, Anand, what more do we know?
Well, this is big because the Air Marshal Amarpreet Singh now divulging vital details on Operation Sindoor. The Air Force Chief very clearly saying that most likely 4 to 5 jets, the F-16s, Pak F-16s were destroyed in their hangars. That's what has happened. In those 20 minutes that Bharat struck 9 air bases, there was huge amount of destruction and damage for the Pakistanis. This is clearly not just pummeled and steamrolled Shehbaz Sharif and the Pak propaganda, but these are absolute numbers. On ground, 4 to 5 most likely F-16s, Pak F-16s have been neutralized on ground. They may have been in their hangars for maintenance or otherwise, but they were kept, and those assets have been neutralized along with control and command stations and also runways. This is the ground strikes, all achieved in 22 minutes. In that time, all those 9 air bases were struck. But more importantly, he's also said along with that, one SAM system that has been destroyed. And these are strikes that have destructions that have taken place on ground. SAM system is a surface-to-air missile system, has been destroyed. Also, further saying that the Indian Armed Forces have clear evidence of one long-range strike, which he says I talked about, more than 300 kilometers, which happens to be an AWAC. So, an air reconnaissance system that the Pakistanis had deployed, and this was a Chinese AWAC system, we are given to understand, was destroyed. Along with that, 5 fighters, high-tech fighters. So this is on air and on ground, absolute, total, complete decimation of the Pakistani military and its braggadocio, all pummeled within minutes. In 90 hours, 2 big strikes. The first strike taking about 22 minutes when the terror infrastructure was demolished, and then just about 24 hours to 36 hours later, then the counter strikes using the BrahMos cruise missiles and pinpoint destruction of 9 air bases that forced the Pakistanis on their knees, and they had to put their hand up and say, smoke the peace pipe. That's what's happened. Now, the Air Chief Amarpreet Singh putting out those details there in that briefing. We'll play out that soundbite also and that portion where he's spoken about not just the destruction that has happened on ground, but also the destruction that has been meted out to the Pakistanis, forces on air. So an AWAC system, 5 high-tech fighters destroyed on ground, a SAM system that is a surface-to-air missile system, and most likely 4 to 5 Pak F-16s. So the F-16s of the Pakistani military have also been destroyed, along with multiple command centers across air bases, and some of those air bases, viewers, still are NOTAM. That means there is no traffic, no air traffic, and it cannot be used for operations. Operations are still suspended at some of the key air bases because of the damage that Bharat had unleashed under Operation Sindoor. So, contrary to the Pak braggadocio and Pak propaganda, false one at that, including their Prime Minister who have gone ahead and made these statements, this is what the Air Chief is revealing. These are the details that we need to focus on. Yes, there were aircraft destroyed, but these were of the Pak military. Yes, 4 to 5 aircraft could not even take off, and they were in their hangars getting maintenance or whatever, but they have been destroyed, and it belongs to the Pak military. Yes, 4 high-tech fighters have been destroyed, they belong to the Pak ministry, and AWAC systems being destroyed belong to the Pak military. A surface-to-air missile system destroyed belong to the Pak military. Their air bases still remain not functional. This is the Pakistani air bases and the Pakistani Air Force. So all this propaganda and this making statements, and that too on international forums where word coming in from a sovereign leader should actually be true. Pakistan's lies busted. Shehbaz Sharif is a liar. Mohsin Naqvi, their interior minister, is a liar. And that's their lies have been caught, and they've been caught with their airstrips bared. That's what's happened. They've been caught with their ammunition and munitions exploded, pummeled. In 90 hours, twice the destruction put out by our forces has been such that Pakistan continues to reel under its impact. Which were the air bases that were visible within 24 hours for the world to see? Which was the air base which the Pakistanis claim to have destroyed, where the Prime Minister stood with an S-400 in the background? Bharat has nothing to hide. Satellite imagery is proof. Bharat's satellite imagery of Bharat's military installations is there for the world to see. And what is a state in Pakistan is there for the world to see. And thereafter, and that's why propaganda, negative propaganda, false propaganda by the Pakistanis called out very smartly and succinctly by the Indian Air Chief, Amarpreet Singh, who's come out and said, this is what we have done. Most likely 4 to 5 are already gone. They may be more, we do not know, but he says most likely 4 to 5 F-16s, 1 surface-to-air missile system or the SAM system destroyed on ground, on air and AVAC system, and 5 high-tech fighters he's talked about. We'll play out that soundbite in a bit, but yes, Krithvi.
He's also spoken of clear evidence. So,
yeah.
Citing clear evidence, this is the number that the Air Chief Marshal has given to the entire country. Anand, we'll come back to you in just a bit. Air Commodore B.S. Sivach is with us on the broadcast. Air Commodore Sivach, your first thoughts, not just talking about how in all likelihood 4 to 5 F-16s have been downed by the Indian Armed Forces personnel, also talking about the false propaganda, calling it out, saying Pakistan ko bolne do ki 15 se 16 hamare jahaj giraye hain. That's not true. They have no facts on their side to substantiate these false claims.
You see, India has given evidence. The satellite pictures are available. They have been shared around the world. Everyone knows about it, that Pakistan airfields have been pounded very, very heavily. And they have suffered numerous losses. Definitely, you see, the air chief would have got the complete information after analyzing the satellite pictures. So satellite pictures don't lie. And once also through intelligence network also, you get this information about the losses of Pakistan. And it was only because of these massive losses that Pakistan begged for ceasefire. And ceasefire, then of course, we accepted it. So Pakistan is known to be a biggest liar on this earth. They believe in false propaganda. They are very shameless. They have no scruples. And they don't even keep quiet about their defeat. They like to convert it for public consumption that we have won the war and we have shot down the aircraft and all that. And lie, you see, some people tend to believe it also. Within our country, some people are under that mistaken impression that Pakistan must be saying something right. But Pakistan is known for such kind of, dirty propaganda. And they should not be really sort of, anybody should give any credence to what they say. From our side, it is a solid proof. We have given concrete evidence. From their side, if they had done something, then they should have some proof. They also had Chinese satellites hovering over India. They had given them the latest information. Yeah. So somebody at least would have got some pictures of the losses. How can you give, and even their Minister of Defense also, when you are asked about the losses which they caused to India, they spoke to caused to India, he said, the person was asking him, so he said, no, it is on the social media. So they go by social media, which is their own making, within their own country. They spread this whole news. They got, these agents, some agents are dedicated for this false propaganda. So we should not trust anything which comes from Pakistan. They have been beaten very badly, but they are shameless people. They will never, ever, be reform or be remorseful about it.
Yes, Air Commodore, so much so that the Air Chief Marshal is actually put aside all of those false claims made by the Pak army, calling it Manohar Kahaniyan, unki Manohar Kahaniyan. Thank you, Air Commodore. We'll reconnect with you going across to Colonel Rohit Dev, who joins us on the broadcast too. Colonel Dev, how do you look at this? A big claim made by the Air Chief Marshal. He has claimed that in all likelihood, 4 to 5 F-16s have been downed by India during Operation Sindoor, and more importantly sends out this larger message of how we were the ones who could make them reach a stage where they asked for a ceasefire, they asked for a termination of hostilities, and we also fulfilled our objectives. Once we did so, we agreed to a ceasefire which was demanded by Pakistan.
Right. So first a correction there. The ceasefire was never demanded by Pakistan. It was begged for by Pakistan because our naval forces has moved and postured the night before as well towards Karachi. So that's a small correction. I think insofar as the air chief is concerned, he's just putting facts yet again on the table. There has been enough, evidence coming in from signal int, from satellite imagery, from the disclosures which the DGMO conference we had the air representative making as well, Air Marshal Bharti. So I think in that context, we don't have to prove anything more. And what has happened actually is that once Munir and Shehbaz went to US this time, obviously they had to create some aura of begging for more funds from the US. And it's only now that they're finally, America knew all the while how many F-16s have been damaged. The Pakistanis knew. But now they have to come up publicly, and obviously the Air Force Chief is also public with it. So I think both sides understand the damage which has being bestowed upon the assets, flying assets, and also the air bases of the Pakistani Air Force.
This is Anand Narasimhan here. Good afternoon. General Pandey is also with us. But Colonel Rohit Dev, why take such a long time? Why is this whole conversation about Manohar Kahaniyan coming out now? Or is it that whenever Pakistanis will push propaganda, we will continue to shame them a little more? Because he has said, अगर उनको लगता है मेरे 15 एयरक्राफ्ट गिराए हैं तो प्रूफ दिखाएं, उनको अपनी मनोहर कहानियां बुनने दो, उनको खुश रहने दो, अपनी पब्लिक को दिखाने दो, साख बचाने दो. That's what Amarpreet Singh ji is saying.
See, the irony, Anand, here is that the Field Marshal is not the air chief of the Pakistan forces, but the army chief. So you can understand where it's coming from. But the air chief of the Indian Air Force was responding to probably a question of a journalist, and in that lighter vein, he put it to rest. When you have not been stuck, when you don't have any asset degradation, there is no point tom-tomming beyond it, because after this Operation Sindoor, we had our Prime Minister standing at a base and showcasing India's power.
Yeah, but so we'll try and pull out. We'll pull out.
Let me also tell you. That the Air Force assets are absolutely mapped in terms of communication linkages throughout the world. The Chinese know who's the pilot, which is the machine, the number, the tail number, and what's happened with it. We know what happened with it. Pakistan also knows, since the information comes from China. They do not have a concrete evidence of even a fly getting down from an Indian, asset point of view. So all that rhetoric finally got the kudos to whom? It got to a dictator who's behind the scenes called Asif Munir, who took the Field Marshal's rank upon to himself. It did not go to the air chief. If they had actually
never have I seen that somebody gets demolished and has to actually get his DGMO to wave the peace flag and say, "Bas karo bhai," in 90 hours, and then they become Field Marshal. But General Pandey is also with us. Colonel Rohit Dev, please stay with us. General Pandey, this is what Indian Air Force. Most likely 4 to 5 F-16s were destroyed on ground. A SAM system was destroyed, that surface-to-air missile system, and AWAC destroyed on air, and 5 high-tech fighters. This is a big claim that's come from the Indian Air Chief. General Pandey.
Anand, historically, we as Indian Armed Forces are not prone to boasting what we have done. We are quite subtle, and we let our actions actually speak. Unfortunately, that is misconstrued as possibly that we may not have done enough. But the fact is that Air Chief is only talking now. The world has been putting out everything on the map. Their respective ambassadors who have been serving in Pakistan have gone back to their respective countries. And I'm sure you heard a couple of these ambassadors talking a few days back on the media about the strikes which was done. Why should a country kneel down in 88 hours after carrying out rhetoric that we are going to do X, Y, Z to India. So if they have kneeled down, there must be sufficiently enough damages done not only onto the ground but to the air defense system and to the air assets wherein they just couldn't fly thereafter. So air chief is only when he's pushed to a corner, that is the time he is possibly giving out some information. But we know overall the numbers are beyond 2 dozen and beyond in terms of air assets. I'm talking of flying fixed wing assets. We are not talking of missiles and all, right? Most of them have got damage in the ground. Quite a few have been taken out in the air, which have been claimed, awarded in a very subtle manner by our government during the past Independence Day. So when you connect the dots, they will not go around tom-tomming, because unless we get those pictures ourselves and produce it to somebody when the requirement comes up, then only to possibly come out.
Right? Satellite images show कि वहाँ कितना नुकसान हुआ है. So much so, sir, people can check. This is public knowledge, isn't it? That some of their air bases still have NOTAM. 3-4 months after this, they still have NOTAM because वहाँ पे traffic, you cannot fly those air bases at all. I'm just going to read out that entire passage. Akash, who's covering this press conference from News 18, has shared this. And what we have gathered from whatever intel reports we have got is that on ground, because of these strikes, there have been radars at least 4 places, command and control centers at least 2 places, runway, of course, that have been damaged in 2 places. Then 3 of their hangars, 3 different stations have been damaged. And in that hangar, as well as on the tarmac, we have signs at least 4 to 5 fighter aircraft, most likely F-16s, because in that case happened to be an F-16 hangar which would have been under maintenance at that time. Along with that, 1 SAM system which has been destroyed. These are strikes that destruction has taken place on ground. As far as air defense part is concerned, we have clear evidence of 1 long-range strike which I talked about, more than 300 kilometers, which happens to be an AVAC. Along with that, 5 fighters, high-tech fighters. General Pandey, this is a lot of damage, and Amarpreet Singh ji has just come out and said it all out. हमने इतना इनको धोया है.
Just remember one thing. Why do you think the Chinese stocks have gone down? Why do you think the Chinese are into a lot of trouble in the military-industrial complex? Because the figures on ground of damages also reverberate in the stock markets where the defense industry matters. So defense industry knows that the Chinese systems which are deployed to firstly as an ED wall have failed, right? That is one part. The second is their systems which are also protecting the ground assets around the air bases have also failed. And therefore the systems are all stocks and things have gone down. You have very clearly articulated that how those heads have been, have been actually checked out. हम नहीं बोल रहे, पाकिस्तानी बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे इतने losses हो गए, right? The Pakistanis are actually calling out Asim Munir that how come he has been actually now made field marshal after what he has lost on the ground. But the fact is that yes, there's a total military control on the narratives. In spite of this, everything is coming out in the world. So I think we need to continue to acknowledge, and more importantly, I think our own political establishment who are going ranting around, calling out armed forces for what has happened to them, they need to actually not listen to the air chief who's come out and said, it is not मनोहर कहानियां मत बनाओ.
हाँ, नहीं, वो कह रहे हैं कि उनको बनाने दो, उनको लगता है हमारे 15 एयरक्राफ्ट गिराए हैं तो उनको उनकी मनोहर कहानियां बनाने दो, अपने लोगों को ये कहानी बेचने दो, अपनी साख बचाने के लिए वो जो कर रहे हैं करते रहे, पर हमको प्रूफ तो दिखाएं. Let them show us proof. They don't even have 1 naya paisa of proof that they have inflicted this kind of damage upon Bharat. Let's just play out what Air Chief Amarpreet Singh ji said. Colonel Rohit Dev and also Lieutenant General Pandey, please stay on with us.
Clear directive, clear mandate was given to the Indian Armed Forces, and Indian Air Force was the prime stakeholder in that, in terms of 2 major targets out of the 9 that were chosen towards terrorist camps were given to Indian Air Force to address. And I think we were able to strike. We were able to strike with precision, with minimal collateral, trying our best not to have any casualties from civilian side. And we were able to bring them to their knees in, actually speaking, one night of intensive operations.